Located near the southern tip of Indiana, a state known for its basketball, is Evansville, a river city known for its annual summer bash, the Freedom Festival. Evansville opens its doors to such events as hot air balloon racing with over 40 entrants in 1987. There's square dancing downtown. And what would a celebration be without a chili cook-off? But what breathes life into the entire festival is unlimited hydroplane racing. And for the 9th straight year, we're back on the shores of the Ohio River. Hi, everybody. I'm Don Poyer. Welcome to the shores of the Ohio River in Evansville, Indiana. I'm with Jim Kropfeld, defending world champion of the Miss Budweiser and defending champion here in Evansville in what was one of the greatest races in over a decade. We're almost in the cockpit of the Budweiser, but Jim, what a contrast over last week in Miami. You got a lot of company now, a lot of hot boats.
Boy, that's true. You know, we've got 3 of us up in the 130s, and everybody's running a lot better. The saltwater, there's no culprit there from that, so it looks like this is going to be just as exciting as last year.
This new boat, though, you finally had a chance to stretch its legs on a bigger course. You got to be happy.
Oh, well, I'm quite happy. This morning we ran that 140 without really trying too hard, and that was not our good engine, so I can't wait to get the good one in for the final heat.
All right, Jim Kropfeld, and he's going to be going against 3 other turbines. Jim Hendrick is right now with 2 of those drivers.
Well, Don, you set the theme. I'm excited. I think the competition is going to be great. Miller American, Chip Hanauer. What about the psychological battles going on the last couple of days in qualifying? Speed after speed after speed.
Well, on Miller's behalf, no psychological battles. We've just been trying to get the Miller American straightened away and make it as race ready as we can.
Now, this guy next to me is a little sneaky because he's sitting here about 127.2. We know you've got more than that, Mr. Steve Reynolds.
Well, the whole thing about this race is to race yourself. You know, you've got to get yourself prepared first. And this is the 2nd race for the Cellular one, and we're taking it a stage at a time. Jim wants to be a little bit conservative, but I hope he turns me loose, you know, today come final heat time.
Good competition. Let's hope it's a good, clean, competitive race, and we're looking forward to it. Don?
Jim, it's time to go racing. Let's look at the boats now that'll be running in Heat 1A. First of all, Risley's audio-video, the U-22 with Todd Yarling aboard out of Hanover, Indiana. Then comes Scott Pierce in his debut in a turbine-powered boat, the Mr. Pringles. Next, Steve Reynolds in the Cellular 1 at 127+, running much better than in Miami. And Jim Kropfeld in the Miss Budweiser, the defending champion. Now, James, what about Heat 1B?
All right, Don, there's only 1 turbine entry in Heat 1B and 3 reciprocal engine boats. And this is the way they line up. Miss Pepsi, U-15, Mitch Evans driving. Jerry Hopp has qualified for the first time in about 10 races in the U7 Thor racing team. Ron Snyder, wearing the harness for the first time this year to keep him in the Holset Miss Madison, will be in competition. And, of course, having to be the favorite because of his qualifications and his past record, Chip Hanauer in the Miller American. Lots of competition expected, Don, and let's go to work.
Jim, I'm with you. The first racing of the day from Evansville coming up right after this. Welcome back to Evansville. We are just moments away from the drivers strapping in and getting ready for Heat 1A. I'm with Scotty Pierce making his debut in a turbine boat in the Mr. Pringles. And Scott, we've talked to the 3 other turbine drivers. They are basically known entities. Now, what about you? You're looking great in your testing.
Well, the boat's running pretty good. This is our first race, you know, Don, with the turbine. We have some things that we need to get sorted out on it. The boat, as far as mechanically, is running perfectly. The computer and everything's doing everything that we've asked for. The boat ride is beautiful.
Now, if I know you, if there's an opening, you're going to take it anyway, regardless of a new boat, right?
Well, we would like to come away with a win here if at all possible, but the most important thing for us to do in this particular event is to finish the 3 heats and do it in a competitive manner. If we could do that, we would leave happy and then go on down the road and try to get these wins. But if there's any little way that I can pull it off, you can be sure I'm going to try to win.
Okay, good luck today.
Thanks, Donald.
This is the most improved boat of the early '87 season. Risley's audio-video, Todd Yarling the driver, and the red, yellow, white, and blue of the Cellular 1 and Steve Reynolds heading out for Heat 1A. The drivers, Todd Yarling out of Hanover, Indiana, not far from Evansville. Scott Pierce, as we said, making his debut in a turbine-powered unlimited hydroplane, the Mr. Pringles. Steve Reynolds in his 2nd race in the brand-new Cellular 1 designed and built by Jim Lucero, and Jim Kropfeld, the defending world champion in the Miss Budweiser. 8-boat field, 4 in each heat, as you see. The Budweiser Cellular 1, Mr. Pringles, and the Risley audio video as they come down the main straightaway. There's the starting buoy. Everybody's behind the clock and behind the line until the clock expires. And now, all 4 boats coming down the main straightaway. A slight dog leg to the left as they come down this 2-mile course on the Ohio River. Jim Kropfeld's favorite course. He is not afraid to admit that at all. He's made a big point of that all throughout testing on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and now today on Sunday. Kropfeld with a big lead already as he comes out of the first turn. Second place, Cellular 1. Risley's is in third place, and the Budweiser going into the second turn. This is an absolutely gorgeous boat, brand new. Won in Miami 2 weeks ago on that small 1 2/3 course. Here, a little different on a 2-mile course, 5 laps, a chance to see what these boats can do on longer straightaways. The reason Kropfeld now in first place after lap 1, and my goodness, look at his time, 138 miles per hour for the Budweiser, as you see the Cellular 1 and the Pringles. 138 absolutely obliterates the course record for 1 lap in competitive racing. The old record at 131 miles per hour, the Budweiser at 138. In second place is the Cellular 1, running it better than 120 miles per hour. Dewey Norton, the engine specialist for the Budweiser, along with crew chief Ronnie Brown of the Budweiser camp. And now the Budweiser beginning to string it out, and Cellular 1 likewise comfortably in second place is Reynolds in only his second trip in that boat. Again, Kropfeld only his second race in that particular boat as well. If you're turning into our season a little bit late, yes, that is the same Budweiser that flipped during testing in May. The crew quickly tamed it down, and they got it back ready for the race in Miami. They set a course record there. Now, likewise here. We said earlier, the Budweiser went up to 140 while testing. There's the Pringles, which has gone down all of a sudden. That's Scott Pierce in the new Mr. Pringles with a marine type of turbine engine, something totally different from what you see in here, the Budweiser or the Cellular 1 or the Miller American, which use Lycoming L7 engines. This, the latest design by Jim Lucero out of Seattle, who built and designed this boat. He built and designed the Miller American, of course, many other boats, the Pringles when it was originally built. That's Dan Walters, crew chief for the Cellular 1, talking directly with this man, Steve Reynolds, in the Cellular 1. Out of Cincinnati, Ohio, not far from here, though, Jim Kropfeld in first place, the defending world champion. Very comfortable with this boat. He loves the new Miss Budweiser. Very happy on that short course in Miami, and now getting a chance to stretch it out a bit. He is in first place. And now the Pringles going again. He is in fourth place. In second still, the Cellular 1, as he hides behind the rooster tail. There's your third place boat. The Risley's audio video with Todd Yarling out of Hanover, Indiana. Budweiser still in first place. Sounds like a jet flying over your neighborhood, doesn't it? The Mr. Pringles on the outside, having a little fun with Steve Reynolds on the inside. Both Seattle drivers, and having some fun going into that first turn. But the Budweiser clearly out in front and in control. As I said earlier, his speed's outstanding. He has obliterated the competition lap record of 131 miles per hour with a 138 in the first lap, 135 in the second lap, and 136 in the third lap. They are now on the 5th lap, and here is Jim Kropfeld of the Miss Budweiser, the winner of Heat 1A, going away with 400 points. Second place will be Steve Reynolds, and the Cellular 1 driving for Steve Woomer. So the Budweiser with all 400 points, then the Cellular 1, Risley's audio video, and Mr. Pringles down to the pits with Jim Hendrick.
Bernie, you've got to be very happy, and Jim Kropfeld, I'm going to tell you right now, buddy, you just broke a course record here for 2 miles. Course at over 138 miles an hour.
Well, that's what I was trying to do. You know, Chip and I had a battle last year, and he had the last shot to go out and do it, and he broke it, so I said, I'm going to come back this year, and if I can do it, I'm going to get it back.
Well, that's right. In competition now, you have the course record for here. Now, come on, tell me the truth. Bernie Little has got the headphones on. You're talking on a 2-way. Were you singing out there during the laps?
Well, I think on the 3rd lap, I started singing Rolling Down the River or something like that.
Come on, give us a couple bars. Come on.
It's rolling down the river on a Sunday afternoon.
Oh, can I believe this?
Oh, I want to hear Hendrick next time. We'll return to the shores of the Ohio River right after this timeout. It is unseasonably cool and comfortable here in Evansville, Indiana. Good news for Chip Hanauer, the other drivers in the enclosed canopy cockpits. And here in the Miller American, they put on the steering wheel after he crawls in. Mark Smith doing the duties. Ever see, wonder how we get these pictures? Well, there's Arlo Smith, our pit cameraman. Can you imagine crawling around one of these boats with a $45,000 camera on your shoulder? Don't fall in, Arlo. Got a long day ahead of you yet. Jerry Hopp and Thor Racing heading out, and Ron Snyder aboard the Holset Miss Madison, ready to do the same. The drivers in Heat 1B, Mitch Evans out of the Northwest, driving the Pepsi America's Choice. Long time since Pepsi's been involved in hydroplane racing. Jerry Hopp in the Thor Racing. First time they've qualified in '87. Ron Snyder out of New Bremen, Ohio, and the Holset Miss Madison. And finally, Chip Hanauer, national champ back in 1985. Once again, 4 boats here in Heat 1B in the field of 8. Miller American by far the highest qualifying speed in this heat. The biggest threat coming from probably Ron Snyder and the Holset Miss Madison. There's the Miller in lane number 2, I believe. As they come up to the starting line, the clock winding down. Again, the starting line. You heard the gun, and it's a legal start for all 4 boats. Miller American in the inside lane, going into the turn the first time on the outside. Ron Snyder in the Holset Miss Madison. Already a rooster tail lead for the Miller American, the only turbine in this particular heat. As Chip Hanauer out of Seattle in the Miller American goes down the back chute in only his 2nd race in that particular boat. Lots of new boats. The Thor Racing in 3rd place. And again, the Miller American as it goes into the turn. Still a lot of dialing into this boat as the Miller crew tries to get it up to the performance level of their boat last year. Miller American first place going wide, as you saw in the background, is Ron Snyder in the Holset Miss Madison. Snyder, as we mentioned in the Miami race, is driving now with seat belts. No shoulder straps, but seat belts to keep him in this particular boat. Snyder was thrown out of the 2nd turn, out of his boat in the 2nd turn last year here in Evansville, Indiana. But now he says he's got a better feel of the boat, enjoys the ride much more. The Miller American almost whispers around that first turn and going down the back chute here on the Ohio River past the log boom. Almost like Seattle, where you have hundreds of boats down the backstretch, but here it's the Kentucky state line over there across the river from Evansville. Thor Racing and Jerry Hopp out of the Seattle area. First time they've qualified, first race of the year here in 1987. And they're doing all right. The Miller American, again with the Lycoming L7 engine inside. The air intake system drastically different from what we've seen in the past for this Miller American team. This one not adjustable. When they race in salt water, that opening, the air intake will actually vary. They can close it if they need to when they're starting out with lots of salt water around them. Snyder. And you see Mitch Evans in the Miss Pepsi America's Choice struggling a little bit down the back chute. The Miller American in total control. Snyder, though, driver of the Holset Miss Madison, which is in 2nd place, went through a year, an entire winter of off-season training supervised by Dr. Keith Peterson, who is the medical officer for the Unlimited Hydroplane Racing Circuit. Strengthening his arms, his shoulders, his kidney area. After he was thrown out of that boat last year, he said, hey, it's time to get in better shape. I got to be able to take this. Chip Hanauer with air conditioning inside that capsule, keeping him cool, and not with an F-16 canopy over him, but rather smaller parts, lighter and strong equipment, they feel, or material, protecting him. Of course, in the broad, open daylight and the fresh air is Ron Snyder. I don't know if he'd say it's fresh or not with that exhaust coming right into his face. Not the problem for the Miller American and Chip Hanauer with the exhaust coming out of that turbocharged Allison engine, the Holset turbos, used on this particular engine for Snyder, also used in auto racing. But then again, the whisper of the Miller American in first place here in Heat 1B is Hanauer hoping to stay close to Jim Kropfeld in the national points race. Likewise for this boat that always does well early in the year, especially down in Miami, the favorite course for Ron Snyder, now on this 2-mile course. And Jerry Hopp hoping to gain more points for his owner, Al Forson, who is also the crew chief of that boat. Checkered flag now waiting for the Miller American as Chip Hanauer in total control in this particular heat after qualifying at 134, getting 400 points as the winner of Heat 1B. And oh no, the Holset Miss Madison is starting to cough and spurt. Ron Snyder in 2nd place. There is the 3rd place boat. Jerry Hopp going into the turn. There is Ron Snyder. Oh, no, less than a football field away from the finish line. Suddenly, Snyder's gone dead in the water. Here comes Jerry Hopp. He will take over 2nd place and pick up the 300 points. What a helpless feeling for Ron Snyder after holding on to 2nd. Here comes Jerry Hopp. Steals 2nd at 300 points. In the meantime, Snyder's still trying to get some points. He's got the engine going. You can hear the crowd in the background getting behind him as Snyder, yes, he gets it going. So at least he'll get 300, or check that, 225 points and third place. Goodness me, oh my. Miller American coming in first with 400 points. Thor Racing and Jerry Hopp, the Holset Miss Madison, and Pepsi, America's Choice, failing to finish. Down to the pits.
Has to be a great difference from the Miami race. It looks like you had a good chance to shake it out in race water.
Yeah, there wasn't a great deal of comparable boats, so it wasn't a great test of how competitive we are, but, you know, at least we finally finished the heat and the boat's no longer a maiden, and, you know...
Neither are we after that baptism of the boat going over us and getting all wet. Well, you got a lot of competition still to come.
Oh, a lot of competition. You know, Jim Kropfeld is really running very well, and we'll just have to see how the day progresses.
Okay. Don?
Okay, Jim, we're with Ron Snyder of the Holset Miss Madison. Pretty good job there trying to get that thing going again. What happened right at the last lap, last time down the straightaway?
Well, evidently we got a fuel pump problem, or I run out of fuel is what I did, because I made it as far as across the starting line and finish line, or just nothing but a primer, so that's gasoline.
Everybody at home kind of panics when they see all the flames coming out, but that's just basically a stack fire, and you blow it out once you turn it over, right?
Oh, that's definitely just, you know, too much fuel in there, and when she tries to ignite, it just sets it all on fire, and you get the flames.
Well, nice effort, Mr. Snyder, getting the points.
Thank you.
And down at Thor Racing, looks like dinner's ready, but a second place for Hopp and Company. Back in a minute.